Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am taking part today in the wonderful community project that has been put together by CHOUX from CHOUX Creations, and I am really excited, pumped to use some more of my stamps. So this month's challenge is for you to use flower stamps. So I'm going to put together two projects, using some flower stamps, and once you are finished watching this video, make sure to go and check out CHOUX's video and Heba's video and Sabrina's video, where each one of us will be using flower stamps in a different way, I think. And yeah, so I have two projects planned for you, like I said, and the first one is this one here. This is actually the August intro to my One Little Word album, and I am going to be using these rose stamps by Kerri Bradford Studio mainly, but I also want to use these puffy stickers as well, just to add to it. So this is just a story. I'm using the Strong Kid from Ali Edwards to create my August intro page. I've already done my journaling, and I have selected these three inks to go with the colors and the vibe that I want to go with. I'm also going to be doing some heat embossing, and I'm really excited to show you how I do that. Now, moving on to this project. This is going to be a 9x12 project using this photo of my friends and this little piece from Color Cast Designs. I have chosen two stamps for this particular project. The first one being this flower stamp from One Little Word, and the other one being the flower stamp from the Bloom kit. So these two stamps I'm going to essentially show you how you can layer them on top of each other to create a bit of dimension. And for that project, I have chosen these two stamp pads. All of the details of everything that I'm using will be linked down below if any product is still available. And I will also link the other videos down below, including the playlist that's been created by CHOUX. Now, if you do want to take part in this Stretch Your Stamps community project, then use the, then you can use the hashtag SYS scrapbooking on Instagram, and yeah, you could be featured in next month's video that CHOUX will put up. And then I'm just going to get started because I'm kind of rambling. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching. I'm going to put these two projects together now. Bye. Okay, so jumping right into the stamping. I am starting with just taking each of those three rose stamps, and I'm going to be stamping just a few of those stamps in each color. So I think I try to stamp maybe 3 or 4 of each stamp in each of the colors, so that at the end I've got a nice variety. I do have a bit of trouble doing the stamping because it's actually quite a big stamp. So you'll see later on I pull out my little Misty knockoff that I got off Amazon, and I use that to try to get a bit of a more all-rounded stamping impression. You will notice that often in these I'm not getting the center even if I press down really hard. Now, when stamping these, one tip that I have is to clean your stamp really well, because I started to get the red was fine, but the blue and the yellow got a bit mixed up, and you see actually on the screen there, I got a bit of a greeny color rather than the bluey color because it was mixed with the yellow. Now that was actually not a problem. I quite enjoyed how that ended up looking. It added a bit of variety, and it added more interest to everything that I was doing. So as you can see there, I'm using this little stamp knockoff, but the actual magnets are from Misty. The problem is that they're not exactly, they're a bit higher than the magnets that I get
that I got with this little stamping pad thing. I don't even know what you call it. So I noticed soon that I actually need to move those little magnets out of the way to get a clear impression. So you see on this one, I don't really get a good one even if I press down really hard because the magnet catches it. Once I did all of that stamping, I am going in and I am stamping. I'm doing the same thing with the leaves. So just a variety of the leaves in every single colour that there is, all the 3 colours that I used, including my random mix of blue and yellow. Now, even on the stamps where the impression wasn't so clear, once I add the border, so the outline of the roses, it doesn't actually matter because it sort of hides that the stamp wasn't done properly, if that makes sense. Another thing that I realize as well with these stamps is that once you stamp initially, it might look a little bit patchy, but because the ink tends to blend together, after a while it looks really good. Now I'm going on with the heat embossing. I was really excited about this part. So I'm taking my Versamark ink and I'm doing the outline and I'm essentially embossing the outline. So what I do is I actually try and do about 4 at a time so that my ink doesn't dry up, because then the embossing powder, the gold that I'm using, won't adhere to the actual stamp because it would have dried up. So I do them in batches. I do like 4 at a time and then I move on again, and then I use the heating tool to melt it once I've got it all stamped out. And in the end, it looks quite pretty, as you can see there. Then I took them away on another day and I started, oh no, it was the same day because I'm wearing the same jumper. I actually filmed this whole video over the course of like 4 days, so you'll see my hair color actually changes as well. But yeah, so I fussy cut them, I fussy cut the leaves, and I fussy cut that card that says, "I am strong and brave, repeat." Next up, I'm using this particular card that I got that is actually from the One Little Word kit, and I took alcohol markers that matched the colours in the card next to it. And the reason I use alcohol markers is because they tend to blend really quite well on the Ali Edwards cardstock, so it looks like one of those fill-in stamps. Whereas if I used a water-based marker, then it risks looking a bit patchy and tearing up the paper, so that's why I use alcohol, and it really does look like it's just another filled in stamp that I've been using. Then I'm sticking them down. So for that give thanks card, I just wrote things that I'm currently thankful for. My journaling is about how I've grown over the course of the last few months, and my photo I took on a day where by all accounts I should have been much worse off mentally, but I was actually doing really quite well. Now I'm doing this card, and this is just a little flap up because I really wanted to use that card that I can't actually remember what it says, but the quote on the front actually was like quite perfect. So I'm using the little flip up. I'm taking this tab, which also came with One Little Word, and I'm adding a little tab sort of in the middle, and I'm stapling that with my tiny attacher. Now I add a little clear sticker later, which you will see in the final photos. But I'm happy with it how it looks so far, so I am just sticking that little flip up down. And then I'm going to move on and I'm going to work on the left-hand side. So as you can see, I actually outlined where I wanted my photo to go, but I decided instead to take one little strip of the glue runner, the tape runner, and just stick it down the middle so that I can still tuck all the flowers underneath. And I wanted it to just look like there was an explosion of flowers behind the photo, but then the bottom right-hand corner, I wanted the flowers to overlap the photo because I wanted somewhere to put the little quote that I cut out from the 3x4 card. So my technique in getting this stuck down, once I was happy with the placement, is I put a little glue on top to glue the photo to the flower, and then I put a bit of glue underneath the flower so that I can glue the flower to the page, and then that double glues it in place and it's pretty secure. So then I'm gluing the little bit that I've got at the front, the little 3 flowers, and I'm adding the quote. And I'm just going to add that using the tape runner. I'm not too worried about that. I feel like it'll stick pretty well. If over the time it does come off, I'll just use glue, but for the purpose, I didn't want to get too messy, so I'm just using the tape runner because I'm a messy scrapper, and I know myself, I will get glue on my photo, and I've done that 1,000 times before. Now I'm taking the little leaves that I had fussy cut, and I'm trying to place the leaves so that they don't interact with a flower of the same colour. And so you'll see here in a minute, I am about to put a little leaf down that is the same colour as one of the flowers that it touches, and I don't like how that looks, so I move it, and other than that, there's actually no rhyme or reason. There you go, that was the one. I just stick them down where it feels good to stick them down. And then I am going to add that gold puffy stickers that I just want to use up because I've been sitting in my stash for quite a while. And I'm really happy I used all but one of them, and I will find some use, some purpose for it down the track. But I'm just sort of sticking these down where it feels good. I'm trying to cluster them in a cluster of 3 if it's single leaves, or just leave them in whatever cluster they came in if it's one big frond. Am I using that word right? Is it frond? But yeah, so once that is done, I'm going to move back onto the right side of my page, and I'm going to start working on that 3x4 card. I really quite like how the golden embossing worked with the little gold puffy stickers. I think they complemented each other quite well. So now I'm just decorating the top of my journaling, and I didn't have 3 leaves left in every colour, and I didn't want to go back to stamping and embossing and all that. So I am using 2 yellow because I like yellow. Yellow makes me happy. I am going to use my tiny attacher to attach those little leaves behind the little acetate sentiment piece there, I guess you call it. And then I'm going to put the glue on the leaves rather than on the acetate, because otherwise you'll see it through the acetate. I'm going to stick that down, and then I'm going to take I'm pretty sure those puffy stickers are from Jen Hadfield, and I'm going to take those gold puffy stickers and I'm going to add 1 to each side, which then creates the little cluster of 3 that I like so much in every single scrapbooking page that I do. I'm cutting that one down just so it can tuck underneath and sit a bit snugly. And I printed my journaling on like a bit of a textured background just to add something more interesting, and rather than just a plain white, because I knew that the card on the top that says give thanks will be plain white. Now this month in One Little Word, the prompt is the stories I'm telling myself, so I wanted to use the chipboard that came with the One Little Word mini kit on that particular card. So that's not from the story kit, but it looks good in the end. I added those little red leaves because I thought I might as well just use them since I've got them. And I'm adding 2 little clusters of the gold puffy stickers, and then that particular layout is done. Now, on another day, I'm moving on to this layout, and again, I'm just starting stamping those flowers. I know that ultimately I am going to need, how many was it? I'm going to need 7 of these little flower clusters, but I didn't know which one I wanted more of, one with blue as the base or one with pink at the base. So I'm stamping a lot more flowers than what I ultimately need. Now that pink ink, that rhymes, that pink ink, when it stamps very dark, but as it dries, it lightens up a lot. So it does actually match the paper a little bit better down the track. I am using the little centers from the One Little Word stamp set to just center those, and then I'm going to start with my actual layout. While I was waiting for those to dry, I also fussy cut them off camera so you didn't have to watch that. I'm cutting this paper down to size. The reason why I chose this paper is because it had those lines which to me just looked like journaling spots. So I thought I would cut my photo down so it fits on the top, and then underneath I'm going to do some essentially prompted journaling using the prompt I love my friends because. But first I need to do this love these people acrylic piece, but it got a little bit lost. So I took some black paint because I didn't have any black paper, And I painted it onto just white cardstock, like a nice thick cardstock that was a bit textured, so it looks interesting. And I'm just cutting that down to whatever size felt right. I do actually reduce the size a little bit later as well because it was a bit big. And then I'm rounding the corners because I always feel like when you add a paper element on top of paper that is square, for some reason my brain just says that to do that properly, you need to have the corners rounded. I don't know why, but it would have felt very weird for me to keep the corners straight angled. There, I'm cutting it down. And then I just take the glue runner to stick that acrylic piece on. I actually don't subscribe to the acrylic kit from Colour Cast Designs, but I specifically got that one as an add-on because I wanted to tell a story about my friends. So that is why that one's there. So I'm just sticking that on. And also, by the way, the reason I'm wearing 2 headbands is because my daughter was playing with them and then I had to remember to put them in the back in the bathroom. And then I put them on my head and forgot they were there. So I'm wearing 2 headbands in this particular clip, which was very funny. Propping that up on some foam dots. And once it's down, I thought it still blended in with the background a little bit too much. So I'm going to take a white pen. I think this is a jelly pen. And I'm just going to do a little dashed border around the side to distinguish it from the rest of the layout. And I'm going to do 3 little love hearts, although I'll only do 1 on camera. And then I'm going to go into my little fussy cut flowers. So what I'm using these flowers for is dot points. And I think Crystal does this a lot where she uses sort of an embellishment that all looks the same as little dot points. So I really wanted to do that. And these flowers were the same size as the little paint strokes on the pink paper. And so yeah, like that was pretty self-explanatory. I just layered these 2 flowers on top and I decided to go for more of the blue on the bottom and more of the pink on the bottom and the blue on the top because I wanted there to be more blue in those flowers overall because there weren't as much blue as there is pink. That was a mouthful. I hope that made sense. I am just using glue to stick them on and I'm staggering them a little bit because they didn't fit exactly within those lines. And even though it was intentional, I loved how that turned out. It just creates this movement in the journaling, which you'll see later. So it doesn't all line up exactly and it just looks much more interesting to me. Using those, goodness, where did I get those gold puffy stickers? I have no idea. Maybe Citrus Twist Kid like 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm just using those to do some numbering, adding the date before I forget. And then I'm going to use these little clip-in alphabet stamps and I do not know where I got them from. I'll see if I can find something similar on Amazon. But what I really love about them is that you clip the words together so you don't have to stamp every single letter individually. Now I know I'm stamping this one individually, but that's because it says I, but you'll see soon that I build the word love. And so I stamp love next to it all the way down and then essentially every word I will stamp all the way down. And some of the letters they actually double up on, which is fantastic because often a letter contains more than one particular, a word contains more than one letter. So with some of the more popular letters, they have 2 of them. Anyway, I added my journaling just in handwriting to differentiate between the prompt and the journaling. And then I'm going to add these little puffy dots with my little visitor in the corner there. And I wanted to add something on the top right-hand corner, but I didn't know what. And then this, which came from, I think it was the Connect kit. It was literally just laying on my desk. I do not know where it came from. And I thought, hey, that's good enough. So I'll stick that down, add these little puffy stickers, and that is done.
Okay guys, that wraps up the 2 projects that I am creating for this community challenge using flower stamps. I hope you enjoyed watching these 2 layouts come together. And I suggest, if you haven't already, go and give all of the other wonderful creators a watch. As I said, I am linking the playlist down below. Yep, that way. And I I love what they've all come up with, and I'm really excited to continue seeing how this project unfolds and continue finding different and exciting ways to use my stamps. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.